add to what CryptoFrenchie mentioned, to create software which makes people's life easier and communities better. So I believe that's about all. If
Yeah.
anybody has questions.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I guess I'll start off by going into this pretty basic. If you guys can, I don't know, whoever wants to jump in and answer, how do we distinguish like where do you guys fit into the picture? Because obviously when we look at Flare Network, we know it's the network. When you look at Flare Finance, we look at Flare Finance, right?
Hmm. Definitely,
So there's
definitely.
always going to be this assumption, which I did early on, and assume that they were, you know, mesh, that it was all one, but really it's almost like sectors, right? If you
Hmm.
break a business down, there's sectors, and then there's like subcontracting, and then from subcontracting, it just goes on and on and on. So where in the grand scheme of this do you guys fit in?
Definitely. So right off the bat, we like to clarify we are not affiliated with the Flare Network whatsoever. We're not a part of the team, any of their partners, their investors, or whatsoever. We're a third-party team that came to the network, I'd say right place, right time, and discussed with them to go ahead and see if we can, prove our worth as a development team and show that we can put out something that is positive in their ecosystem. On top of that, I'd say the best way to match up what we are is Flare Network would be like a country, and Flare Finance would be like one of the many large institutions that builds in that country, and either or becomes successful or not. So we would say that we're what you, as people who live in that country or partake in that country, would be utilizing. We wouldn't be the foundation itself. So saying that we came to the network and have been building ever since. We've been trying to follow as much in the culture of the network itself and follow trustless nature, decentralized nature, and really focusing on power to you guys as holders.
Cool. Bannik, you have anything to add on to that, or you pretty much summed that up pretty well?
No, I believe what CryptoFrenchie mentioned is pretty much it.
Okay, cool. As far as the Flare network and Flare Finance goes, are you guys pretty much going to be like a reflection of what they do in terms of like the coins that are going to be on your DeFi platform and kind of flow alongside, basically in a similar parallel?
In a sense, yes. Initially at launch, we'll definitely be following as much in their footsteps as possible, getting out any coins they plan to support, any networks they plan to support, just to bootstrap that ecosystem and ensure nothing is missing there for those holders. But going forward, once we do launch as a decentralized platform, it'll follow much in line with Flare Network, meaning that as people vote on new networks into the consensus algorithm, they're going to need to also vote in to accept that token or currency on our platform as well. So it would be a two-stage voting system, but it would ultimately work in harmony because people would want that same currency to land on Flare Finance as well.
Cool. Kind of guides me into the next question. I'm going to jump around because I do have a page that I'm trying to flow on, but you're going to kind of lead me in the direction. Why do you guys feel that you guys were in the right place at the right time? What edge do you guys feel you guys have over other platforms?
Definitely, I believe we've had what I say is not first start advantage, but the time to review what current DeFi has been putting out over the years, and being at that point where we are right before regulation, as well as right at the end of what DeFi is able to put out before regulation. We're able to have this great understanding of what will work together, what we can put out together, and what will need to be taken on by the community from there on forth. So the best way to say it is that besides having first start advantage on the network, we have had these years of experience to know that we need to put this together with this. We need to, match these tokens with that and not go ahead and make this ecosystem based around, incorporating single platforms over and over again. Instead, we believe, that an ecosystem is more important than a module.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. There's a very very, very common perception of kind of what your industry is, and the terms that get thrown around is centralization versus decentralization. This is probably going to be a deep thoughted question for you guys. Like, for people that are thinking, oh, this is just a way to centralize what should be decentralized, what would you say? Like, if I asked you guys straight up, how is this any different than a centralized, bank per se? What are you guys holding on to make sure that it's, truly decentralized and not just another, redirect or a funnel to recreate what would, potentially be a centralized decentralization?
Definitely. So the main point of decentralization is one thing that I like to clarify. It's not anonymity. What the main point of decentralization is to focus on ensuring that power and voting and changes within that ecosystem are what the people want. And that's the main key to decentralization. So we incorporated as many different voting mechanisms, as many different, routes to incorporating changes on the platform that will help people and help ultimately what the people want in the entire ecosystem to guide the platform and the end goal. So what that means is that, we can only be decentralized in a sense that the holders want it to be. So if they're not working with it and incorporating the changes and wanting to incorporate those changes, then decentralization itself doesn't work. So we as a team are providing the tools to allow that to happen. But at the end of the day, we ourselves as a team cannot ensure that something remains decentralized unless the holders partake in it once it's released. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing, is because obviously I have a little bit more knowledge than let's say a new person coming into the industry completely bare, somebody that's brand new to crypto, not just reading or hearing about Flare Finance or Flare or the Flare Network, anything like that. Somebody that's just completely new to the industry. It's a very difficult world to understand, because it's not lingo that we use every day.
Definitely.
So and that's I think universally speaking, that's not just somebody who's completely new to the market. That's an everyday experience for me and for even people that have been in the industry for a long time. In terms of you guys, what would you say is your ultimate goal? Like for you guys, Flare Finance.
Definitely. Our ultimate goal at the end of the day is to ensure that when we release this platform, it has the education, the tools, and the necessary just people available to help people guide that end goal that they want out of the ecosystem. The main point is that once DeFi is released, you guys need to partake in it and really begin to learn about what is happening around the financial ecosystem and how you guys can adapt to that by changing the settings that we've incorporated into the platform. This is one major reason why we've incorporated the APY cloud, which is essentially a yield aggregate platform. And it allows you guys to adapt to the current financial ecosystem at hand. Saying in times of high earnings that you guys want to provide more yield to your holders, or during times of drawbacks in the ecosystem that you guys want to not necessarily stop yield, but minimize it to a point where it's acceptable and sustainable. So that the platform you're using can withstand something like a bear market, or provide rewards that make you guys happy at the end of the day during a bull market. And that's what we're trying to do, is provide all these tools that allow you guys to adapt. And the main thing is you need to partake in them, and that's very important. Just like with the Flare network, the FTSO and consensus, if people are not partaking in it, it'll ultimately fail. And that's important, is engagement and the need to participate as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Obviously, the intentions of any yielding, as I'm learning, is the opportunity to make that an income, or make a supplemental income at the very least. For you guys, how do you guys make money? How does Flare Finance make money?
Definitely. So I've been in the industry for quite a while. several of my partners have as well. You know, we came together and bootstrapped it ourselves out of pocket as far as finances. We haven't been partaking searches into any VCs yet. We've had interest. We won't drop any names, but we have been working closely with seeing if we can approach a deal that we're ultimately happy with as well as them. But, you know, we're ultimately we've done this out of pocket since day one, and we've done as much as we can to let the Flare network know who we are, you know, what we're doing, and update them on, you know, what the team has been wanting to achieve at the end of the day.
Are there going to be fees, like when your platform's live? Are there going to be fees that you foresee that are, you know, just kind of like a generic, you know, par for the course kind of a transaction fee or percent of something like that for being able to use your guys' platform?
Definitely. There will be a team and investor fee incorporated into various products like FlareX. You know, when swap fees, liquidity fees that would be distributed to participants would also have a share that comes to us, as well as Flare Wrap. The only product that will not have a fee incorporated is Flare Farm itself, because it is fair distribution. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Do you have any idea kind of what those fees would look like if that's even?
Yeah, they're actually labeled in our white paper. Each product has a variable fee incorporated. We take usually between 30 and 60% of the fee that you guys establish. It's a ladder fee. So, for instance, on FlareX, 0.3% is taken of the overall transaction. 0.25 goes back to liquidity providers, and 0.5 will go to the team pool. And that team pool splits it half into APY Cloud as well as half into the team. So it's providing rewards to liquidity providers as well as providing a pool of savings for governance as well as APY Cloud distributions as well as our profits all at once.
Cool. Mm-hmm. As far as auditing goes, mm-hmm. Have you guys had to submit for audit? Have you guys been dissected? Have you guys passed auditing so far?
Yeah, we're actually working with 3 auditing firms now. We just completed one audit with Certic. We're working on our second audit with Trail of Bits. The third partner we cannot name right now until the end of the audit, but they've worked with large reputable firms like Coinbase, Polkadot, Avax, and actually are conducting various audits with, you know, several products in the ecosystem now. We've also contracted one of them to provide security advisor as a service for the first month of launch to watch for any you know, malicious actions towards the platform whatsoever during that first month. And if we're happy with those services, we actually plan to continue that every month going forward for the existence of the platform.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Just to kind of be a devil's advocate. Let's just say something happens, website or the app gets hacked, and it goes down for whatever reason. Are you guys backed by any, you know, parent company or anything like that that could basically give the user comfortability in knowing that their coins are recoverable if something, you know, devastating was to happen like that?
It's hard to say that right now because, you know, insurance within this industry is hard to come by, but there is mutual that we are providing that would allow people to cover events like this within the ecosystem. And we do plan to offer and work on providing forms of compensation and find those ways to provide that through the token itself in the long run. This is one of the reasons for a reserve pool as well. And, you know, we're working on that as much as possible. But at the end of the day, we can't sit here and say that, yes, we're going to be able to recover every single dollar a token that's hacked if it does happen. Yeah, and we can't promise that.
No, yeah, of course. And, you know, being in the position that you guys are in, I think it just basically leads me into the next question. And, you know, what can you guys do or what can we do as a community to help boost the confidence to be advocates for you guys? Because at the end of the day, I mean, it is what's really unique about the crypto space is it's not just a space, it's a community. And at the end of the day, like you said earlier in the call, we all rely on one another to achieve a common goal. So when the question that comes up is, you know, what can you guys do to give us confidence in what you guys are building, and then of course on the opposite side of that, what can we do to have you guys be confident in us? And I'll elaborate on that back end, the second part of that question, for the confidence from us to you guys. But we'll start with what you guys could do to give the community confidence, especially those that are kind of like, I'm not too familiar with it, but because of this, and this, I do have a little bit more confidence in them than I would over something else.
Definitely. So, we begin with carefully executed development approaches, and I'll let Bannik speak on that in a little bit. And we also begin by vetting who we bring into this team, and also ensuring that we allow them the space to explore and learn as much as possible. We provide educational budget, and we try and allow people to learn as much as possible in spaces that they want to. On top of that, we begin with also going ahead, and every day, our team sits there and looks into as many hacks as we can find everywhere in various languages, countries, tokens, and anywhere that we can find it. And we bring it to our development team, and we see if this applies to us whatsoever. And there are times that we have to rewrite, and there are times that we have to reapproach things. But ultimately, we take this time to every day, even if we feel our product is good, to look for more and see how we can find more security behind it. And this is something that we've actually spoken with. I personally spoke with the recent security team that we brought on. Is what do you guys do to ensure that at the end of the day we can, when we release this, we don't have this feeling that it'll be a hard time, because I personally wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I got this platform out and something got hacked. So that's why one of our largest budgets is security. One of our largest budgets is looking into finding as many ways that we can incorporate, just looking into our code and our audit and adding as much to that side of it as possible. So yeah, I'd say that we carefully review and we carefully look into it. But what you guys can do as holders is, I say, the second the code goes live, is we all have friends, we all have people that we can bring in, and DeFi is community, as you say. And when we do release, we are going open source, and you guys have the option to look into anything that you'd like, and let us know beforehand, and we're here to adapt to it and respond to it as quickly as possible. But beyond that, we are ensuring that the code we do release is audited, triple looked into, and then monitored afterwards once it is launched.
Awesome. I appreciate that. One of my biggest goals for everybody that's in this room is, if I had it my way, the perfect world would be us as a community, piggybacking off one another, picking each other up. And, I'm assuming you guys, like you said earlier, you're going to be a reflection of Flare Network and the coins that they launch, XRP, Litecoin, DogeCoin. For me, my ultimate goal in this is to do kind of like who I'm going to call up is Patty. She represents the XRP community. My ultimate goal is to have our communities, like me representing Doge, just for an example, her representing XRP, and then maybe if we can find someone from Litecoin who'd be willing to come in. And we kind of like build an even broader dynamic of a community where it's not Doge for Doge and it's, XRP for XRP. And over the past couple of weeks, I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter, we've had a lot of animosity towards other coins, and I think we have to put that to bed, and we have to realize that we're all in this space trying to achieve the same goal. And it's important for financial DeFi platforms to know that it's not a competition. It's not about who, quote unquote, for lack of a better analogy, who gets to the moon first, as long as we all get there. And that's something that our community, if there's anything I can challenge our community on this before I pass it over to Patty, I'm going to put the challenge out there just to kind of put any animosity towards other coins to bed. Understand that the Flare network launch is so important for the crypto future. It's probably going to be the last thing I kind of elude over to you before I let Patty jump in. The Flare network launch is going to be so revolutionary and a game changer for the community that the animosity right now it's a waste of effort. There's no point in even doing it, because at the end of the day, the the change is coming, and we're part of the lucky crew to be chosen to be a part of that launch, right? And I think it would behoove us to ignore the window of time that we have to become, you know, besties with one another in each community. I think it would very much behoove us as Dogecoin holders to not be welcoming to XRP, and XRP holders not to be welcoming to Litecoin. So I want to challenge us as a community to just start coming together on at least this. If it's just us, so be it. It's our coins on the network, because at the end of the day, our job is to raise awareness in just how impactful the Flare Network launch is and how it's going to change the space. So my last question for you is, before I hand it over to Patty, why is the Flare launch such a big deal for the crypto space?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, to begin, I'd like to elaborate on that. Yes, we had. I did come from a time, you know, where this industry was entirely more, I'd say, collaborative. You know, in the early days, where it was such a success to even see a new coin come out, and you know, it was one of the you know, the happiest moments, I'd say, in the industry, to see something begin to look into. So, you know, that being said, it's very important that this industry, besides the money that can be made in it, remembers that if people are contending that it'll ultimately fail in the long run and not be what it's supposed to be, because, you know, one of the things that even happens with everyone's currency is harmony, and the fact that everyone knows that it's a good thing and they use it. So if we can't find harmony amongst everyone's currency at the end of the day, then it will just be a battle in the long run, and crypto will not become what people want it to be. So, you know, elaborating on that as well, can you repeat the end question that you were saying?
I was just asking if you could summarize why the Flare Network launch is going to be so revolutionary for the industry.
Oh yeah,
because that's one. A lot of people, they're like, oh, I've heard about it, but I don't know why it's important, or I don't know what it is. You don't have to tell us or go into depth into what Flare Network is, because obviously we had that conversation with Hugo, and we're trying to work on having a second call with him, so hopefully that ends up working out after all this. But because you're in that industry and you live it, you breathe it, you know, you sleep on it, it's all you. What would you say what makes the Flare Network launch such a big deal for the crypto space?
You know, I believe the largest thing on that is the fact that it's true trustless assets, that, you know, it doesn't require the holders, when they do bring it in, to give up their native approach to consensus. It allows them to literally bring in the family to the ecosystem, and that's very important. You know, to not give up your roots to an ecosystem and join another one, and you know, we see that as something that's awesome, is that these assets that are going to be on our platform are truly trustless. They're still Doge, they're still XRP, they're still what they are. They're just, you know, with added feature, with added capabilities, and that's what we feel is most iconic. And then once you are on the network and you know, partnering with these other communities and able to engage with what is the most powerful thing in crypto, which is community, you guys will be able to see, you know, what comes out of it as far as new decentralized applications, new platforms, and new just new approaches to DeFi itself.
Awesome. I'm gonna invite, actually, Patty, sorry, before I call you up, I'm gonna invite Uncle and Lucas, if you guys want to jump in, because we didn't really go too much into Doge specific, but I'm curious to kind of let you guys do a little bit of talking on Doge, and then obviously we can go over to XRP, and then if there's anybody from Litecoin that wants to jump up with Litecoin related questions, then we can. So
go for it, Chad.
Oh, sure. So hey, everybody, it's Uncle Chad. So thanks for having this space. I think it's extremely important that everybody gets a chance to listen to you. I've got a little question here. As opposed to being a 10,000 or 5,000 foot view, can you give us a 30,000 foot view of how your Flare loan would work as it relates to Dogecoin?
Definitely. So our entire loan platform works very similarly to Compound. You provide collateral and can borrow up to X amount of it based on what currencies are allowed on it. So to begin, it'll be allowing all F assets, Doge, XRP, Litecoin, Stellar, and any wrapped assets that the platform does vote to allow on it.
Okay.
This collateralization ratio is entirely up to you guys. It'll begin at 140%, but you guys can change this as you please by just voting on it within the platform. You could raise that, lower it. It's ultimately up to you guys. We recommend carefully executed proposals when it comes to that, because changes in the ecosystem are long term. So it's very important that you understand what the ratio is, and when you guys do change it, how it will affect liquidations, how it will affect your guys' ability to borrow more or less in the long term. So you would come to the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I'm a big proponent of trying to. We've got a lot of new investors in this space, so one of the things that I like to approach, the way I like to approach things, is to try to dumb something down. Let's kind of dumb this down a little bit. Let's say I'm an investor that I hold, 500,000 Dogecoin. How can I get a Flare loan?
Definitely. So if you have 500,000 Dogecoin and you came to it, you would loan it to the platform. It would know the exact rate that it's worth. Let's say at current rate, that's around $150,000. So that means you would loan $150,000 to the platform, be able to borrow up to X amount of that. Let's say 80% to begin. So putting that $150,000 up, you would be able to borrow around $120,000 to $130,000 of other assets on the platform. That could be stable dollar, that could be Ethereum, that could be XRP, any currency that you'd want to borrow from that.
Are there specific loans? Can it be used for any access? And do you guys report to any of the credit bureaus?
We can't say that we report to the credit bureaus. We do have the Civic KYC platform on it that would report any suspicious transactions to FinCEN or any local regulated bodies that would look into it. But beyond that, we ourselves do not report that out to anybody.
Okay. And so since this is collateral, right? So we're providing our coin as collateral for the loan. Well, how do you handle your default process if someone defaults on their loan?
The platform will liquidate the loan if it falls below a certain range behind, as far as the value backing it. So if you're borrowing up to 130,000 and the value of that falls below what you are borrowing, what you have borrowed, it would liquidate your loan.
Okay, so they can't borrow any more. They can't borrow no more than what it's worth.
Exactly.
All right, that's great. That's great. Can you kind of give us the same 30,000 foot view, kind of dumbing it down about how your Flare Mutual works?
Definitely. So you would attend our platform. This is a KYC required platform for membership. You would come to it and you would join. You would pay a small membership fee that would go to the staking pool itself. And beyond that, once you are in the platform, you can do things like providing coverage or buying coverage itself. In the beginning, we will be providing coverage for events like hacks over platforms, losses in trades. We'll be covering agents, anything along those lines that could have a loss of value. There will be different rates to buy this coverage as far as, against hacks or anything like that. Everything will have a different rate based on its risk in the ecosystem. So providing coverage means you add to this pool, you add money to this pool, and in the event of a hack and any claim that is passed in the ecosystem, you can pull from this pool and reimburse the losses of the holders. And purchasing coverage, you can come to this platform and let's say you want to cover $100,000 of assets against a hack on a smart contract that you're going to participate in. You would, for 90 to 180 days, for instance, there's also a time frame incorporated. And you would pay this rate. It would be for probably let's say 5% per year. And so if you divide that by 2, you would technically pay 2.5% for 180 days on the amount that you're trying to cover.
Okay, so thank you very much. The last question I have is for either one of these products, do you require a certain credit score level, or is it just based off your assets?
No, we do not look into credit scores or identities ourselves. We only provide the KYC process, and that's it.
Perfect.
They report anything that's suspicious.
Outstanding. All right, Lucas, go ahead.
Curious, would this centralize? Wouldn't this I mean, Doge being decentralized, wouldn't this centralize Doge in a way?
Well, we feel it brings a bit of capability to Doge. Doge beginning as a currency, you don't necessarily need to partake in the DeFi that is offered on the Flare network. But beyond that, Doge as a currency is decentralized. And once you bring it to the Flare network, you now have decentralized use case in its whole.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if this made Doge more centralized, and then also made it more susceptible to the things we're trying to avoid with Doge, which is decentralization, and also more susceptible to possible, I guess, losing the Doge in a way. So I don't know. Just thinking, just thoughts.
Definitely.
Is it so? Is there is there anything in place that actually helps us stay decentralized in this case, or just because it really feels like this is actually centralizing the currency itself?
I believe that would be more of a question for the network itself once you do bring on Doge, and how that and what happens as far as where the Doge goes once you do swap it to Doge. But as far as with us, partaking with any decentralized ecosystem, you do stake your tokens, you do have control of your staking, you do have control of anything you do partake on the platforms itself. No one can necessarily take your Doge unless the event of a hack, of course, but or you giving it up yourself. So we wouldn't say you lose decentralization. I would say it would be more of a need to look into where the Doge or the Doge goes during that process of the creation or minting.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can pass to Patty for right now.
Cool. Yeah, thank you guys so much for doing this, and DogeCoinMilitia for setting it up. Thanks for taking some questions beforehand. I know I sent you a lot, so
here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one I have is I noticed you guys listed some current DeFi protocols that you guys took inspiration from. So I was wondering if you could expand on how you guys improve on those or take different parts to construct the Flare Finance ecosystem. Yeah,
definitely. So one main point of that I feel is very important is that we're very much so ecosystem based and we are not module based. So that being said, when you come to the Flare Finance platform, that there can be more products added. It can expand into anything you'd like it to based on just the governance proposal and the need to create it. We see that a lot of platforms limit themselves by becoming a single source of basically use case. And with Flare Finance, you can come and use what's available, as well as know that at the end of the day, you'd want to expand on what's available. It doesn't necessarily stop at the 6 products that we offer. It can go much further. On top of that, we feel we compound that value back into the token. We bring all the value of these use cases back into each F asset and allow it to have this place that it can be utilized beyond its initial use case of generating yield once you do mint it. So that brings a lot of value back to our tokens itself, a lot of value back to the platform itself, and once the participants take place in it, it brings back value to the community itself. And on top of that, we're using real trustless assets. We're not just we're not using besides our wrapping portal, we're not basing our platform on wrapped or these fictitious tokens that aren't truly what they are. That's the benefit of the Flare network. They are real trustless assets. And Bannik will actually expand on how we expand on it technically in the background.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I will actually take this point to refer to something which was said earlier. We definitely took inspiration from several protocols out there and several platforms, but as the DogeCoinMilitia said, we don't believe it is a competition per se. We are a community member as well as we build the community, and we listen a lot to what people say, both around us and in our chat. So that reflects on our products and in our development. We have a pretty agile team, so we are on our chats day and night trying to find out issues we might have, fixing bugs, fixing any kind of things we might believe might happen better, based on community input and based on community vote after launch as well. So that's a pretty important aspect, I believe, which lots of platforms we got inspiration on don't use, let's say. And we move pretty fast so far, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah. I definitely like the aspect of, you know, with the Y-Flare and Y-Fin tokens that we kind of get to vote on what's being brought into into the ecosystem for Flare Finance. And kind of to piggyback off that, since I'm glad that CryptoFrenchie, you said that, you know, the first 6 products don't have to be everything. You know, there can be more built on top. So I was curious if your guys' team has any plans to build additional projects either in the Flare Finance ecosystem or, you know, on top of the Flare network. And then if you guys have any projects in the pipeline that may be going through the launch pad that can compose with the platform.
Yeah, so sadly, we can't really build beyond much more on the Flare Finance platform once it's launched, unless you guys do vote it into action and want us to build it. Okay. But we do want to build other products that we actually do that are in works, and we plan to bring 2 other products that are not relating to Flare Finance, but will hopefully go through the launch pad if you guys do vote it in. Of course, we can't just force it through the launch pad ourselves. So if you guys do like the projects that we do bring out after, we'd love for you guys to vote them in and run through the launch pad. But that we do hope that at the end of the day, we can bring these 2 other products to market.
Nice. And then also with that, so we know that right now we have kind of, you guys are offering a lot of different like components of DeFi through Flare Finance. Trustline's already building on top of Flare Network, who's going to be creating a decentralized stablecoin and like a whole credit system. And then like I've seen Sparkles is doing an NFT exchange. So I was wondering, you know, from what we kind of know is being built right now, what kind of parts of DeFi do you think are still missing? One of the big ones, you know, I could think off the top of my head is derivatives and how those could fit in the future.
Oh yeah. Flare Finance, as we said, is going to be just the bootstrapping. It's nowhere near what DeFi could end up and be in the long run. So it's just the beginning, I'd say. And then yes, derivatives is one part of it. There's real estate, there's retirement, there's trust, there's so much more that can be made in decentralized finance that, you know, we've decided to not, I'd say, hog on all at once and more see what you guys would want first to come. We just put the basics out, we'd say, and the rest we hope that you guys would want to find and source or encourage new teams to come in and build these new modules that they can add into the Flare Finance platform for.
Gotcha. And then on that note, would it be possible for, you know, the community governance to vote like possibly on having NFTs be used as collateral and things like that? Kind of just thinking outside the box here.
Yeah, we that's actually something we're looking into, is trying to find out the best route to using the value behind NFTs in our products. We've automatically taken off of the table the idea of just allowing anyone to borrow or pay with the last sale value of the NFT, because we don't know how long that will last for. So we're working on several ways we can incorporate it, but we're almost there. But at the beginning, we'd say that it wouldn't be a vote. It's just something that we would plan to bring on the table into one of our products already. We do have NFTs, for instance, the Samurai NFT, and that will be incorporated into Flare Farms to begin, as well as other products. I see someone raising their hand as well. Would you like to jump in?
I just wanted, after Patty's done, I'll come in. That's no problem.
Okay,
So,
wonderful.
say I have a question too. Yeah. So after that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really curious to see if you guys put that in before launch, how you're going to go about it, because it definitely is like a trickier situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so aside from that, one of the things, so in the beta that you guys had originally launched, I saw like crypto to crypto liquidity pools, and then that also was like available in Flare Farm. And then reading through the white paper, you guys basically were pairing all the assets with YUSD. So I was wondering if we're gonna still see crypto to crypto liquidity pools, or if you guys are trying to keep it just crypto to stablecoin.
Oh, no. Just to begin, we're launching with the stablecoin pair to make sure we have proper price discovery on everything across the platform. But you guys will definitely be able to vote in crypto to crypto platform, liquidity pools, Doge to XRP, anything like that. They're actually going to be available right off the bat. We just made more emphasis on the stablecoin pairs in the white paper.
Okay, so like I know you guys put out that blog in April, so a lot of that stuff still applies. You guys just were hyper focusing for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So also if any like Doge people aren't aware, the Flare Finance is bootstrapping the network with the Spark token holders about a month after launch, and you will be able to receive YFlare if you're a Spark token holder 1 month after Flare goes live. So I was wondering, on top of that, maybe if you wanted to go into that aspect, and then what would happen to any unclaimed YFlare?
Definitely. So we're having our snapshot on the 1 month anniversary of the network launch once it's live. And anytime between that, you can go ahead and acquire some some Spark token, and go ahead and just hold it into that snapshot, and we will go ahead and airdrop you some of the available 40 million YFlare. Once you do receive it, I'm sorry, I'm jumbled up there. You'll receive some pair of the 40 million D-Flare. Once you do have the D-Flare, you can come to our platform and initiate the claim process, which is of course free. We just want you guys to review a set of terms and conditions. We're obviously not trying to airdrop to kids and expect them to put in their money to the platform or get hyper excited about it. We want to ensure that at minimum they're adults or with their parents. Two, we want to ensure that they are aware of what is on the platform, what is going through it, what the token use cases are, how you can use each platform effectively. And once you do look into all of this, you can then claim your actual YFlare token and use the platform. There are obviously ways to divert this by buying the YFlare token itself and coming on board. We don't encourage this, but we'd hope that you guys would go through the claim process and understand what the entire platform is and how to use it. We've actually been working very hard on the wizard to allow you guys to see exactly how everything works in the back end and just how to check, for instance, how your transactions are and just things in the back end, just various things you guys should all know about DeFi before you claim and join the ecosystem and become an actual voter on it. So beyond that, once these 40 million tokens are airdropped, and we allow you guys 2 weeks to claim them, 14 days. We will go ahead and remove the remaining YFlare tokens and move them to the APY cloud, which will initially have 40 million YFlare tokens as well. So that initial 40 million YFlare tokens in the APY cloud will grow based on how many people don't claim after those 14 days.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And on top of that, since you brought up kind of the YFlare reserve, I was thinking back to a topic you guys were talking about earlier with DeFi hacks and just, if some terrible outlier scenario were to happen, is it possible for governance to make users whole if something like that were to happen via the YFlare reserves? Or is there kind of a limit on how creative we could get with this governance voting?
No, definitely. The foundation itself holds 20 million YFlare for you guys. So 40 million is airdropped, 40 million is in the APY cloud, and 20 million is in the foundation, and 10 million goes to the team and investors. So the 20 million that is in the foundation can either be burned, used, whatever you guys want to use it for, minus any overhead that the foundation needs to operate, salaries and so on and so forth and everything like that. But you guys can elect to use it to create a compensation pool or send out to receivers as much as you guys would like to cover up for, of course, what you can with it. Or you can just burn it and try to incorporate more value back into the current tokens itself.
Nice. I really like that possibility that we could the governance could do that. And so on top of that, I was wondering, will the governance staking pool is basically everything going to be available when you guys launch? We'll be able to use governance staking along with all 6 products, minus like you said, we'll have to bring on those crypto to crypto pairs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right off the launch of the Flare network, we plan to have most of our products available, except for Flare Farm itself, because we want to ensure everyone has the same chance to start mining at the same time. Because right off the bat, we're not going to have our tokens available until 1 month after the network launch. But all products will be available for you guys to use, and with your current F assets and any stable coin that's on the platform. Like if you do bring your Doge and you bring it to Flare Loans and you borrow against our stable coin and mint it, then you can then use that stable coin to trade and bring price discovery to the other assets.
Okay. And then, so on that note, I was wondering about the price discovery for YFlare and YFin. Do you guys solely plan to do that through these crypto to stablecoin pools, or will YFlare and YFin be listed on some exchanges at launch that will help with that?
Initially, YFin will be only traded on Flare X itself to begin to bring price discovery to it. But there may be exchanges that do elect to do IOUs beforehand. We don't recommend partaking in them at all, personally, until there is actual price discovery of the physical or Litecoin or Doge as far as creating F assets. On Flare Mine, you can provide ASIC mining rigs and mine various assets and choose which assets you'd like to receive at the end of the day against FlareX. But no, we don't handle the F assets.
Okay, I'm here. Now let me get the mic. Okay. Yep. So I do represent the technical part here, and I have a couple questions. Well, my first one being, where's the person that is taking the questions for the Flare network? Because there was supposed to be an interview asking questions to them too.
I believe that was done a few weeks ago, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, but we're supposed to have a second one because the interview really wasn't clear. And I guess I understand you're built on top of the Flare network.
Yes.
So I hope that you're going to be able to answer my questions, because those are very important questions. The mining one is not really an important one. It was just a question I had because even us cannot differentiate who's mining Litecoin and who's mining Doge, because it's merge mining. So there was that was in the paper that was not very clear to me, because it said that the governance would be distributed by taking into consideration the miners or validators of each network. However, we can remove the validator part because all the coins you want to integrate are not proof of stake, right? So it's only proof of work, so it's miners.
I'll begin by saying that I definitely do understand that we should know as far as how that merge mining works in the background. But our primary focus hasn't been necessarily learning how the final distribution of these F assets is minted and created. We are more focusing on the smart contract side of things and how to deploy our platform and ensure that when these rewards are minted, they do come to us. So I would definitely save those questions. They're valid questions. They're great questions. I would definitely save them for the network itself. I believe the DogeCoinMilitia has another.
Yeah, that's why we were hoping. Okay, yeah, that's why we were hoping to be able to ask those questions. Also, do you know if there's any way for us to get our Doge back? I mean, because I'm going there.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I'm
Doge
going
for
there.
Doge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
there, and it seems like it's just a one-way pegging. Why isn't it made two-way pegging so we can get our Doge back? And you say you're not recommending us to go into an exchange, so that means that basically our Doge are kind of stuck in a centralized repository that is decentralized amongst miners who are governing it, transform into some kind of hybrid proof of work thing, the way that I understand it, though.
I'm not aware of it being a one-way bridge where you can't bring your Doge
Yeah.
back to Doge at the end of it. I mean, I would be that would be very controversial, I'd say. And
Yeah,
And
I'd be
that's because
nervous.
that's how it
I
looked like.
Yeah, no.
so
I don't believe in that whatsoever, and I'm going to kill that there by saying no. I'm positive that you can bring your Doge back into Doge on the
Okay,
Flare network.
okay.
Yeah.
And do you know how that would work?
There is a portal that they're providing to basically, where you would come and provide your Doge and have these agents provide the collateral and be able to mint the Doge on the other side of the platform. And it would work in reverse, vice versa. You would bring your Doge and the collateral would be, removed, and you would then have your Doge back at the end of the day. So you wouldn't just, have to give up your Doge and hope that your Doge sustains what it is at the end of the day. No. I wouldn't be building here if that was it. I'd tell you that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's really how it sounded. That's at some point it was very confusing. Um, okay, the centralization question we did. Okay, the way I see it right now, because I did look at the code, it's like the Flare network is not finished, right?
Not currently. They're almost there though. They're doing great. We've been
Yeah,
talking with them all.
but I
Yeah.
mean it's still not finished anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's why we have deadlines, I guess.
yeah, but we all know that deadlines are never respected whatsoever in development. So
Yeah, but
what I
we
want to
try.
know, yeah, what I want to know is just so it's not finished, but how do you build your smart contract on top of it? Are you both like related? Are you totally
No. There's a public test net available. You can find it on their GitHub. You can deploy it. They keep it constantly updated, and you just and once you are building on it, they do add you to a network of people to talk to. There's support. You're not just building in the blind.
okay?
So yeah, it's
And what's my advantage? And what's my advantage? Because currently, I am developing proprietary smart contract for Doge. Okay, that's
Okay.
what I'm doing. So we're kind of like a bit in competition on that part. While not really, but anyway, what I mean is that would be my advantage to give you my token so I can do smart contract on them. I mean, what's the other advantage that I have to do that?
Well, right off the bat, I'd say you're using real trustless assets. You're not wrapping anything. You're not bringing a wrapped asset onto the network. And beyond that, I personally don't speak for competition, so I won't say any advantages or like that. But we do love what we're building on. We love building on the Flare network, and we personally recommend that you try it. And if you like how it operates and what it does, then you found a new home base. And we like what we're building, and we love how the network treats us. We love how Hugo's been with us, and we're going to stay on the Flare network and keep building.
Okay. No, because I'm here and I just want everyone to understand. It's just like I did listen. I'm going to be fully transparent. People know me. I'm always transparent and honest with everyone. Okay. That's how I am. My job here is to really protect the community. So that's why that I may sound like suspicious at first. That's my job,
Of course.
So I'm just so you know, the first interview that there was with the Flare network itself, to me, sounded very fishy. Okay, honestly, after 30 minutes, I had to turn it off.
Have you?
It's my personal opinion.
I mean, have you read the white paper for Flare Network?
Totally, and it was even worse.
All
Well,
right.
I'd say the key thing is one, you as a developer yourself is know, and I speaking with
And
our
that's why I'm
developers in the
asking
platform.
question, because
No, of course. Let me finish. Let me finish. Definitely, I'm just starting with the fact that you as a developer definitely know that things change as you go, that you're working on one
yes,
thing, and that you have to
exactly,
adapt as they come. So to
exactly.
release as much information as you can at once is what you can do, while hoping that at the end of the day, when the end product gets it, it matches
And that's
that.
why,
Mhm.
I totally agree. And that's why I wanted to ask the question again to a technical person, because I know that the C-level exec is not the best one to answer technical questions. They don't know everything. They usually don't even know the platform they're working on, and they're trying to do their marketing job. And I understand that 100%. I'm a C-level exec. I'm a CTO myself.
Definitely.
So I'm just trying to, I'm saying that, like I say, I'm fully transparent. I'm not trying to do a controversy or anything there. I'm just explaining my first impression of how it was on when I heard the interview. But I never stopped to a first impression. I always try to dig deeper, because my personal opinion might be wrong. And well, if what you say is totally true, we can get our Doge back, it's safe, it's secure, and whatever, then fine, perfect. I don't have anything against that. But I mean, there's still some stuff that I know that you cannot answer, and that the Flare Network people will probably be able to. I mean, I'm not against innovation. I'm not against anything. I just want to always see the bottom of it, to be able to understand it fully, to be able to make an opinion that is not biased.
Definitely.
So that's why I say that. I'm not against you. I'm not against everyone. I'm just trying to understand, because I know how it may sound like from the other side, and that's not what I want to do at all. If we can work together, fine. I mean, I'll be the first one to raise my fist and say, "Hey guys, let's go." But I want to make sure everything is 100% safe for the community.
Of course.
Before putting my vote and say it's a done deal.
Of course. No, I would like to elaborate on that real quick and just let you know that, I feel like, if anything, you're not coming from the wrong standpoint. I'm explaining myself a little bit incorrect. And starting with saying that, I'm not sitting here trying to 100% back the Flare Network. I'm unbiased as well. I'm very neutral in this situation, as far as, being a separate third-party team building on the network. So, as you say, we ourselves are doing our check-ins and doing as much as we can to work with and help the network with anything we do find and elaborate on. It's been very minimal, and it's been, they've been very good at their job and what they're doing. I'd say that it's more that we're saying during our experience, we've had a good time. So, and that's all we can say. I wouldn't say that, I'm speaking from a perspective that's defending them whatsoever. And I'm more on the side of our platform and our community. So it's less of that,
Okay, I understand that fully. So we're on the same sides, checking and seeing how things work.
Definitely.
That's good. Okay. So me, on my side, what I'm gonna do like you did, and install a version and see how it works.
Definitely. Yes, that's
so that
all,
way I can have a better. So that way I can have a better idea, and I can test it out in and out. So
exactly. Dive in.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. Really quick.
Sorry.
I have about 10 minutes left before I have to head back into work. Nick, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I definitely wanted to let everybody know I have about 10 minutes left. So Nick, by all means, if you have some more questions, pepper them off. If anyone else wants to jump in with some questions, I'd like to call up some because there's, I think,